Augustine Lofthouse is an ambitious scientist who works towards finding habitable planets where humanity could expand. One night after giving a presentation at a gala, he meets Jean Sullivan and the two begin a romantic relationship. Jean soon leaves him after a pregnancy scare due to his obsession with work and inability to form bonds with other human beings. Several years later, Augustine encounters Jean again by chance and discovers that they have a daughter, but chooses not to introduce himself. 30 years later, in 2049, a cataclysmic event wipes out most of the Earth, killing almost all of the population with powerful radiation. 2 weeks later, Augustine, now working in the Arctic, refuses to evacuate his base, knowing he hasn't got long to live due to his serious illness requiring dialysis. Alone, he tries to contact any space mission hoping to warn them about the situation on Earth, but finds that all but one have been decommissioned. Only one mission, the spacecraft Aether, is still active and currently returning from Jupiter after having explored a habitable moon, K23, which had first been discovered by Augustine. On board, the crew is unaware of the events on Earth. Augustine attempts to contact them, but the antenna is too weak for his signal to reach the ship. One night while working, Augustine finds a young girl in the station who doesn't speak. He tries to contact his previous colleagues, but quickly understands they are all gone. Thanks to her drawing, he understands that her name is Iris. Reticent at first, Augustine grows fond of Iris, and the two set off for another base in the Arctic, hoping the antenna will be powerful enough to contact Aether. The pair face the freezing temperatures of the North Pole and a series of obstacles that cause Augustine to lose his dialysis equipment, thus condemning him to die soon. Arriving at the base, he manages to contact Aether, briefly warning them about the situation. But the crew is interrupted by a meteor strike that damages the radar and communication systems on board. To fix the ship, pregnant astronaut Sully and her partner, Commander Adewole, conduct a spacewalk with their flight engineer Maya. The team manages to fix the communications and radar, but are caught in the middle of a second meteor strike that fatally injures Maya, who, despite Sanchez's best efforts back on the ship, dies moments later. A broken Sully reaches out to Augustine, who tells her not to come back to Earth, but to instead go back to K23 and start a new life there. Aether's pilot, Tom Mitchell, refuses, but upon discovering his wife's final words and seeing the scorched surface of the Earth, understands it is in the crew's best interests to go back to Jupiter's moon. However, he decides to use one of the space shuttles to go back to Earth, hoping to find his family. Sanchez, who saw Maya as a second daughter, decides to accompany him and bury her body. The two set off back to Earth. In her final communication, Sully understands that she's speaking to Augustine Lofthouse, who was one of the reasons why she joined NASA. She thanks him, telling him her mother Jean knew him and that her full name is Iris Sullivan. Augustine realizes that Sully is in fact the daughter he had with Jean 30 years prior, and that the young Iris is merely a hallucination, an image his mind created to motivate him. Before succumbing to his illness and the radiation, Augustine tells Sully he's proud to have finally met her, and Sully describes K23 to him. Sully and Adewole, now the only survivors, set a course for K23, where they hope to give humanity a second start.